Hello and welcome to the West Yorkshire Football Show. I'm Stephen Brown and joining me for this video is Mr. Jason Booker. We're here to look back at the playoff final yesterday. Leeds United 0, Southampton 1. Southampton reclaim their place in the Premier League whilst Leeds are going to scrap it out for another year in the Championship. Myself and Jason, actually, we got tickets late Saturday night. I think it was Saturday night. We managed to secure a couple of tickets. So we set off nice and early yesterday, made it down in plenty of time. I'd not been to Wembley before. Amazing experience seeing the seeing the arc and everything when you get off the tube, and just being in the ground for a couple of hours before the kickoff. It was all going so well until the actual football started, as ever, with Leeds. Horrible playoff record continues. Horrible playoff final record continues. Today's a hard one. I'm not going to lie. I've woke up just feeling absolutely flat as a pancake. It's just devastating, really. I think it's the combination of the short term and the long term for me, because short term, you've watched your team lose at Wembley, not score a goal, and continue that abysmal record. And the long term is the fact that this makes it harder for Leeds to fulfill its potential as a club, and there's going to be a lot of question marks on players, who stays, who goes, possibly even the manager himself. We don't know. And it just makes everything a little bit harder. Jason, kind of your kind of reflections or your mood kind of this morning.
Yeah, I feel exactly the same, mate. Like, I said it to you on the way out of the ground. Like, I'm not overly fussed about missing out on a season of Premier League football. We had 3, and after that kind of scratch was itched, like, I'm not desperate for it. I would prefer it, and I would much prefer to see us competing at the top level and all that potentially comes with progressing through the Premier League, and hopefully, as we've said back and forward a few times, being the next Villa, being a Brighton even, or whoever, being able to establish themselves in the Premier League and compete. But for me, the ultimate disappointment was, again, not being able to savour a moment at Wembley, celebrate it amongst all them fans that really, really deserve it. Not even being able to celebrate a goal at Wembley again, or in a playoff final again, obviously with the Millennium Stadium final as well. Just bitterly disappointed, because as a football fan, you want them moments. That they're the moments that you live and breathe for. They happen. They happen in regulation season. Every now and again, or there's different moments happen throughout the season, but they're not the same as what it would have been yesterday. So that was my ultimate disappointment, seeing Southampton lift the trophy and their celebrations in comparison to our misery. And yeah, it's just feels sometimes like we're just not meant to have nice things. I know we're getting to the breakdown of the game, and the more I kind of just stew and think about it, and it plays over and over in my mind, the moments in that game, just the more irritated I get. We've seen that game before. We've seen that performance before. We've seen them habits. We've seen the negatives that we saw throughout that game. We've just seen so many times this season, and it's demoralising. It's demoralising. So yeah.
Yeah, no, and we're going to get into it. I mean, if anyone needed reminding, just to have it here, LUFC data, Leeds are the worst performing team in English football playoff final history by becoming the first club to lose all 4 finals. 1987 was actually a 2-legged one, and we didn't score in either legs, by the way, as well, just for extra punishment. No goals, no wins, no promotions from the playoffs. Doomed, as LUFC data puts there. And I mean, it's a remarkable record for all the wrong reasons, really. I mean, to not even get a goal, I mean, it's just startling. I want to thank everyone for your comments. Do smash a like on the video, subscribe. Let's have a look then and kind of see how everyone's feeling. Michael, good morning. Browney and Jason, good morning, mate. Nige D, morning, guys. Feels no better this morning. Farke are now outwitted by Martin 3 times. Southampton looks so better and organised and fitter. Poor performance and a potentially great season just fizzed out. CB, morning guys, still racked off. Tintin, we're cursed when we play finals. Look at our history. And then we've got Scott here, fan of another team. Condolences to all Leeds fans. You've had a great season overall. I'm sure you'll get back to Premier League. Best of luck next season. And our very own Downsy as well. Not here to throw shade, lads. Sorry to see you so glum this morning. I've been in your position. It isn't nice. Chin up, lads. The high 8 passes and Numera's takeover. Big love. Yeah, fair play, Downsy. Much love to you, mate, as well. Yeah, I think it's where do you start with this one? Because coming into it, I think the Norwich one, certainly for me, it pressed a reset button in terms of how I was framing this. I felt well, I felt confident. I thought that we're not going to lose to Southampton 3 times. I just didn't see it. I just didn't see us losing to Southampton. I just thought we would get it done yesterday. I really, man, when that first goal went in, I just didn't feel it after that at all. I just thought, I can't see how we're going to do this. And you're right. We've seen a lot of this stuff before. Big questions have to be asked of the tactics. I look at the 3 managers that have got promotions this season, and I just feel they're more progressive. I feel that they're more, I don't know, I don't want to say the word modern, but from what you see, how they set up their teams, I mean, we were so one-dimensional yesterday, slow and predictable. And look, it's not all down to tactics. I thought some performances were below par. There was some stupid stuff going on with players kicking the ball out, Archie foul throwing, and things like that just don't help. Southampton never made one mistake all game. They didn't make one mistake all game, Jason. And our performance was littered with little bits. I'm kind of scattergunning it here, but yeah.
The biggest difference between I definitely think McKenna and Martin and Farke is the ability to be able to change and be fluid within the game. We were speaking on the way home yesterday, and the amount of changes throughout the game that Russell Martin made, and I don't like him. But tactically, he was tweaking the team the whole time. 1 minute they were at 5 at the back. Second half, they came out with 4 at the back. Then they changed it again and went to back 5 at the back. Shea Adams came on for Ryan Fraser while they were winning. They then went 2 up front. Then they brought on Ryan Manning and went back to 5 at the back again. They were just fluid and changing it. And there were 2 differences yesterday. The 2 massive differences. One was Adam Armstrong. A player that can run off the back line and is properly clinical in front of goal. And the way that they set up out of possession. Their ability to be able to plug gaps and holes in especially in the midfield when they're out of possession was just brilliant. And because we were so slow and so passive and so lateral, we played into the hands. And the facts are, is I said this to you as well yesterday, there is nobody that I would less like to play than Southampton for the way that Daniel Farke sets up the team and the style of play. The side-to-side motions and how slow it was. I mean, the amount of times I was sat pretty much parallel with the right-hand touchline as you're looking at it. So that in the second half, the left-hand side was coming down that side. And the amount of time that Firpo and Somerville had 30 yards worth of space to run into and checked and turned it back inside. Not to sound too Jesse Marsh about it, but the fear that they had in taking on the man and making a mistake, that was the biggest thing yesterday. They were petrified of giving the ball away. And I mean, it all looked like it was instructional. It looked like it was intended like that. You've got a bit of an opportunity until Dan James came on that war. Archie down the right-hand side, Nonto down the right-hand side, check back inside, give it to Kamara, give it to Gruev. And then the amount of time we'd built up an area where we had potential, and we ended up all the way back at Ampadu and Rodon.
Yeah.
It just, and I can't help but look at that system and just think we are handcuffing some of the ability that we've got within it, especially when we're chasing a game. Like, fine, if you want to come out like that at 0-0 and build into the game. It's worked a lot this season that we've played like that and we've stuck with it, and then we've won games 1-0, 2-0. I'm okay with that. But when you're losing 1-0, it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. And then, I get onto the goal. what is Ampadu doing? At the moment, I blamed it on Rodon because I thought Rodon had gone too deep and played him onside. But when you watch it back on TV, you can clearly see Ampadu sucked into the midfield. It goes for small ball. We would be hammering Liam Cooper if he did that. He did something very similar at St Mary's, if you remember.
He did. Yeah.
And Ampadu did it yesterday, went into the midfield to try and nick it off small ball round the corner, and Armstrong's in. I mean, it weren't even difficult, Browney.
Well, that's what I thought that's what it was, because they seemed to start out that game where they were trying to get those tackles in and get that pressing in when they could get little opportunities to nick the ball like that. And then that just went horribly wrong, and you just felt like, and we'd had a little warning before, hadn't we? We'd had a warning a few minutes before when they knocked it round the corner. And then they got one, but I mean, we were chanting VAR when that went in because we just thought, please, something.
It were miles on side. To be fair, it were miles on side.
Awful.
I don't buy the kind of shit the bed comment from CV. Yes, I've seen 3 playoff finals now, and yesterday wasn't like we didn't turn up. I just think instructionally, tactically, we again got it wrong. Farke got it wrong against Russell Martin. There were some individuals that didn't turn up, didn't play particularly well, but we still had, there wasn't a lot in the game. You know, if we'd have ended up winning that 1-0, let's say Armstrong misses that chance and Dan James scores the one that hits the bar, we're all coming away with it saying, you know, we won a close playoff final. They won a close playoff final yesterday, but there is some serious problems to kind of digest and analyse throughout it. That doesn't make it okay, but I don't think it were a bottle or we didn't turn up at all yesterday. I don't think that was the case at all. Games like that are won and lost on moments. Rodon 6 yards out. Just smash the ball, man. Just hit it. Just hit it. But I know it's unfortunate that it was probably him that found himself in that position.
Well, that was one of the few times, Jason, though, where someone actually drove with the ball forward at that point. I was like, thank God someone's actually like driving through. Jesus.
The thing is, when you go at somebody, anything can happen. Like the ball bounces off in a funny direction, but we're so often just so safety first. And maybe that is some of it's the players, but we've seen it so often this season that it makes it think that it's not. It's instructional, in my opinion. So yeah, I just so frustrated and disappointed. It felt like it was there for us again yesterday. I don't think we properly tested, some of their weak links. Look at Stevenson and Ryan Fraser on that left-hand side. Nonto yesterday was so poor, so poor. Should have been hooked at half-time for me. Should have been hooked at half-time.
Yeah, Nonto. I was so disappointed, and he had a bit of an opportunity where he kind of p-rolled it off his left foot, and I thought, oh, that's not a good sign, because we've seen him rifle them in, and I know Archie had a p-roller himself a little bit later, but Nonto was so off it, so below par, and should have been hooked at half time, because I mean Dan James was our best player.
Yeah,
he was our best player, and for me, Cree were miles off it as well. And what I noticed with Cree was it was like it's little things with Cree as well. It's like his passing was slightly off for the person that he's giving the ball to.
A couple of yards behind him or whatever.
It just makes it that bit harder and slows it down. And him and Furpo, it's like the first time they'd ever played together. The amount of times when they're hitting it behind each other, I'm like, what's going on? You guys have played 40-odd games together. Like, what is happening here? Where's the connection?
There was two performances yesterday. Two performances yesterday, Mellier and James. The more I've thought about it, they were the only two that kind of really came out with it with any credit. I was very chastising of Rodon yesterday, and I kind of thought about it and watched it back, and I don't think he was actually as bad as what I thought. There was that moment, just like what you were kind of mentioning there, where he miscontrols it, goes out for a throw in. All them kind of things make a massive difference to momentum, confidence. You just know it's going away from you when that happens. The foul throw, but some of that's in the inexperience that we talk about again. I mean, I don't like Daniel Farke making an excuse of it yesterday. But
this is the thing, Jess. I mean, this inexperience thing, and you've let Ayling go. You don't play Liam Cooper. You've had Pat Bamford around the squad. You've got Connor Roberts, who you don't play now. You can talk about Connor Roberts' performance yesterday, but this inexperience thing, all right, we get it. But he definitely seems to be playing this up as a bit of it is an excuse. It is.
It's a bit of a crutch for him, isn't it?
It is.
I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So just, I mean, I agree. I mean, I don't think it was a performance where, yeah, I mean, look at Watford 2006. It wasn't that level or anything like that. But then again, we were a much better team than what we had in, in 06 and 08. But yeah, it's a hard one. Let's have a look at a couple of your comments here. Tintin, we don't shoot either one goal all season from midfield. Dead, but I mean, Jason, the dead balls. I mean, when we get a corner, fans are going nuts clapping, and I'm just thinking, why? Why are you getting excited for a corner? There's literally no point. The only person that put a decent crossing all day was Dan James. Yeah. That's the only cross. Everything over hit, under hit, free kicks, didn't matter. There's just no threat.
The thing is, Browney, it's double barreled as well, though, because even when the delivery's good, you don't believe anybody's going to get on the end of it. No. Like Joe Rodon, he's never scored a professional goal, which I find unreal considering the fact that he's so good in the air the other way.
Yeah.
Ampadu scored against Peterborough in the cup earlier on this season, but never looks to be a threat at set pieces.
No.
Perot's, Rutter, all of them, they're just not good in the air. So yeah, they're an absolute waste of time. You might as well play every single one of them short and try and work it into the box. But yeah, I agree, mate. I completely agree. And I mean, the goals from midfield have been a problem all season. We desperately missed a 10. As much as I've loved watching Gio this season, when you come up against proper midfielders like Flynn Downs and Smallbone, he doesn't have the skill set to do it in them tight spots against proper defensive midfielders that know what they're doing, because he's not a 10. If he gets that space out on the right or out on the left, we saw it a couple of times out on the left in the second half yesterday, he can do it there. But in the central spots, he's not a Pablo Hernandez. He's not got that about him, or Samu Saiz or an Ilias Share or whoever, you want to kind of put into that spot. Yeah. So, yeah,
Yeah, it's a nightmare, isn't it? And I look at someone like Perot as well, and I gotta say, I don't want to say I felt a bit sorry for him, but I thought he did about as much as he could do. I mean,
Skip's got it put spot on with what he's saying. Perot yesterday for me.
Jason, you've got. I mean, this for me, this rests with Daniel Farke. This is a tactical failing when you've got a guy with a goal record as good as anyone in the Championship. He's even got goals for us this season somehow with like you said yesterday, what is his conversion rate? Because, man, this guy, we give him nothing. We give him absolutely nothing. I can't believe that we can't create for this guy. But then there's no tactical flexibility. We don't go to a two-man forward line. We don't mix it up in any way, shape or form. It's just the same until it's right, okay, Anthony, James, the standard subs, and throw everyone on and just try and figure it out.
How do we get through the whole of that game, Brownie? How do we get through the whole of that game without Perot having a single shot? Like, how is that even a thing? Like, I just don't get it. I don't get it at all. The chance that Adam Armstrong had yesterday, why do we never create them chances? I know. Like, where the striker or somebody's running beyond the back four and we're in one-on-one, we just never seem to create them.
I can't watch us anymore. I can't watch us anymore where we kind of pass it side to side, and our centre backs, when they're on the ball, start to get wider and wider and wider.
Yeah.
And there's no options in midfield. There's no option up front. And the best we can hope for at that point is chipping into like a Rutter, where he's got to do some Zidane type skill to kind of break free.
Yeah.
And then if that doesn't happen, ball ends up going back to opposition. I mean, it's infuriating. It really is. The amount of dead possession we had yesterday, side to side to side, and yeah, you've got a killer up there. You've got a guy up there who can put the ball in the back of the net. We never give him chances. I mean, I don't understand it.
I know, mate. No, I know. And it is all style, isn't it? Because the passes are low risk passes, 5 yards, side to side.
Yeah.
And if you're conceding no goals, I suppose, like we were early in 2024, it works. But when you're not and goals are going in the other end, you've got a problem, haven't you? So
Yeah. CB asked the question here. Browney Jayson, lots of people saying sack Farke. Do you agree? And if so, who would you want to replace him? See, the thing for me is this guy's got us 90 points. He's got us to a playoff final. The squad's not a perfect Farke team. There's, like we say, we haven't got a proper number 10. You've question marks over the strikers, that left back potentially. Do you give him those tools and let him go again? Because I don't know, if you get rid of Farke, it feels like you're pressing reset, and then it becomes a summer of trying to recruit for another manager, and we can't afford a slow start again. We can't. This is the thing now. Now that we've not got promoted, Jason, we have to go up next year, or the parachute payment completely drops down in the third year, and you really start to lose any advantage of having been a Premier League club, and then it becomes basically what we put up with for over a decade before, where you just this kind of, you slowly regress. You slowly regress, and we've seen it happen with teams time and time and time again. This is why it was so crucial to get back up at the first time. Whether you make peace with being in the Championship or not, the long-term future of the club demands for us to be in the Premier League to get anywhere, to do anything. And this season has to be right. This next season now has to be spot on. We can't have a slow start next season. We have to be at it. And my worry is if you rip it all up and get a new manager, who's that going to even be? Who's better placed than Daniel Farke? I'm not entirely sure. Because if you do go for, let's say, a more progressive coach or an up-and-comer and all that, who haven't got the track record, you're taking a huge risk. You're taking a massive risk.
I think it's a real kind of watershed moment, opening closed door kind of moment. I think there's an avenue for it if the club have got a plan that they see as potentially better than this. But I also completely and utterly agree with everything that you've just said, in that to rip it all up and start again now with the players that we've already recruited for Daniel Farke, for the system, we're a year down, this isn't as sexy and as beautiful as what Bielsa created, but we had exactly the same situation season one with Bielsa, in that, that them players were able to work in that structure and that system for a year. Going into season two, we were better than season one. And you would believe that the style would improve and get better, and we would get better at it and win more games as a result. It does still need putting into perspective that we did finish on 90 points after a terrible August, where we were all over the place. He had a lot to contend with. I don't have an opinion on it. I find that really hard to say. Like, I genuinely flip-flop in my own mind going back and forward. I'm okay either way. There's excitement attached to a new manager whenever that happens, because you have a reset and it all feels a bit fresh and funky and fun and all the rest of it. But I also see the massive benefits around backing him and sticking with him. I do think he's done a lot of good this season. I think when it works, we're in more control than we've been of a game in 20 years. Like winning a game under Daniel Farke feels far easier than winning a game under Marcelo Bielsa. And I'm not saying I prefer it, because I absolutely do not. But the control that's attached to it, there's been games this season where we've been winning 1-0 or 2-0, and I know the game's done.
Yeah,
I've not felt like that ever. Like, literally ever. So I do understand the benefits to it, but I am split. I am split because in these moments we've got to be fair. We've got to be critical of it in a fair and honest way. He's been out-tactitioned, whatever the word that you want to put to it, against Russell Martin 3 times. Russell Martin 3 times. You know what I mean? And that doesn't count for nothing. There is something in that.
No,
there is something in that. His answer to being behind is throw 5 strikers on. When he took Junior Firpo off for Mateo Joseph yesterday, I was literally scratching my head. I was like, that's not the way that you then get to the position to score a goal.
Yeah.
It's not, and no disrespect to non-league or League Two, you can do that at that level, because what you're going to do is you're going to pump it long to a target man, and the target man's going to knock it down into the path of another striker that's running onto it. We're not going to do that. We haven't even got a target man to even do that, even if we wanted to. So what is the point in just throwing on another striker? That doesn't work. Junior Firpo has arguably been our biggest outlet for creating goals this year, I would say, in 2024. Like, he's given us so much going on. So it just made no sense. And that, to me, it just showed a complete kind of lack of understanding to the way that to change this situation that we found ourselves in. That all said, though, he does look to the bench and he hasn't got a massive amount of plethora of options. You know, we wanted to change something in centre midfield yesterday. We had to bring us right back into centre midfield as other centre midfielders at centre back. So we didn't have another centre midfielder on the bench. We don't have a 10. You know, I've seen somebody earlier mention about it were on social media, play Joe Gell out there. That's not the solution. No. So I'm real split, mate. I'm going to stop talking and let you say something else.
No.
I know I've been monologuing for a while there.
No, I think it's spot on. Michael sums it up here as well. I would still prefer Farke as coach next season, but his weakness was a lack of in-game management when it comes to making subs, failing to utilise the squad by not using Joseph, Creswell, Joffe enough. Now, the thing is as well, the question mark is, and look, nobody's said it more than Farke himself about getting 90 points, but that squad that we had, I mean, how many times have we sat on here and said this is a better team than, you know, potentially the best team in the league, you know, quality-wise? Now, that doesn't always mean that you have the best team because, you know, the parts have got to fit together. But, you know, when you're looking at the forward line, when you're looking at kind of, you know, the Ampadu signing, Rodon and that, you know, is there an argument that he has underachieved here?
I find it impossible to say no. Like, he has underachieved because we didn't go up. If we'd have gone up playoffs or automatic, you'd have to say he'd done what, you know, was on the tin. Now, that doesn't mean that he should lose his job. No. Because he's not failed to a degree where it's that bad, in my opinion. But, yeah, you can't say anything else other than it has been a failure. To not go up with the team, with the investment, you know, with the position that we put ourselves in, it is a failure. It is a failure.
Andy here, 90 points in Ipswich were a freak situation. Other seasons we go up, we keep Farke and 49ers and we'll have a plan and back him. League not as strong next season, but must get automatic. Yeah, I mean, this is a thing as well. I mean, you know, it's... I mean, we were saying in car back home, we were saying, yeah, it's going to be a weaker league. But then I said to you, Jason, yeah, but you know, if anyone thinks it's going to be a straight road, it's not. Who knows? Who knows who the next Kieran McKenna is going to be in the championship next season that suddenly, you know, gets a minnow to the top of the, you know, it's never a straight line. Will anyone expect us to just smoothly go up next season? It ain't going to happen. It's Leeds.
I made a joke to you yesterday, didn't I? We'll be the first team to finish on 100 points and not go up, or we'll be the first team to finish the season undefeated and not go up, or something like that. So, yeah, mate.
There's nothing off the line for Leeds.
I do think next season the championship will be weaker than this season. I think that goes without a shadow of a doubt. Portsmouth and Derby are not Ipswich. They're not. And look, it might be a complete freak and one of them might do it, but that is very, very rare. And the teams coming down are nowhere near what Leicester and Southampton and us were. So, you know, that's going to be the acid test. And if he doesn't, you know, if he is here next season, Daniel Farke, and he doesn't achieve promotion, well, I think if he's not comfortably in the top two by September, October, I think he'd be under serious pressure. Yeah. Serious pressure. I don't agree with that, Nigel, at all. There's no reason to think why the championship will be tougher next season. The division is without a shadow of a doubt weaker. We're going to be, I think, probably the squad should actually be stronger than this season's. We're going to be missing some individual talent, but we've shown that this season the individual talent isn't the be all and end all. Yeah, because look at Ipswich, it's not all down to the individuals. No. And Southampton, you know, yesterday we went into the game against the most experienced team in the division, and you could see it. You could see that it's not all about just raw talent. So yeah, no, I think. I mean, this is a long way ahead now. We've got a lot to go through before we can properly analyse what next season is going to look like. There is going to be some change. We've got to deal with all this loan situation, which is the biggest probable headache that we've got, and see who's going to come out and come in. But once the dust has settled, I'm sure that we'll start getting excited towards what this team will look like come the first game in August. But
yeah, I mean, I'm just looking at some of the comments here. Keenan, thanks for your comment, mate. He had no answers to a low block 2 times before he faced Southampton. He had plenty of time to prepare for it. He doesn't take responsibility for the team losing. Nige, my main worry for next season is all championship coaches know how Farke sets up and plays, so tactically they can adjust to it. We know Farke won't change, so what's going to change next season?
But I've seen he's just said that at the end there, Nigel. I hear you, but they knew that this season too. Like, it weren't like they were halfway through our winning run in February and we're like, oh, we don't know how Daniel Farke plays yet. Like, oh, we don't know how to remedy this yet, because we had performances where we were stifled in December. And Daniel Farke was playing exactly the same way then. So I don't fully agree with that, because, I mean, the blueprint was set at Norwich. The way that he plays now isn't that dissimilar to the way that he played at Norwich 3 years ago. Yeah. So I don't see the relevancy to that. But I hear you. And like I say, I'm not fully backing him. I hear both arguments to this. I don't think there's a right or wrong. I think if you want to go down one route and we've got somebody that's going to be better, go down that route. Be brave, go down that route, fine. If you want to stick with him, then fine. But what you've got to do if you're going to stick with him is fully back the situation and make sure we have everything that we need. A number 10. I am absolutely adamant, as much as Rutter's done for us this season, as much fun it's been to watch, if he could have been moved out to the right and we'd have had an out-and-out 10 all season, I don't even think we'd be having this conversation. I think we'd have already gone up. I genuinely think it was that key, the 10. Many games this season we needed somebody to unpick that situation. I mean, we were talking in the Carlos night about where we've dropped his points. Take Plymouth away, we beat him home and away. We dropped points to every single team in the bottom 8. Huddersfield away, Sheffield Wednesday at home, Birmingham away, and it goes on and on, Rotherham away. And that 10 was the key ingredient to being able to sort out that low block. Yesterday, if we'd have had... When did we pick up the ball in the central area and cause them a problem? We didn't. Not once.
Never.
Rodon when he drove through, becoming number 10,
bizarre.
So,
Nick makes a great point here. This is one I wanted to bring up that I saw earlier. Got a big summer ahead, need a right back, centre back, left back, CM, right wing, left wing, and a striker. Crazy. Add a number 10 in there. I mean, you were saying it yesterday, Jason. I mean, the amount of churn when you actually break it down. You talk about those loan guys from last season, and I mean, God help us, we've got Rasmus Christian, who's coming back. We've got Brendan Aronson, who coming back, that they don't have any suitors at the minute. Then you've got to sort out all the others. But then you look at the loan deals. So Jadon Anthony, I don't know what's going to happen there. I can't see that being renewed myself. You've got Rodon, what's going to happen there? You've got Cooper possibly leaving. What's going to happen with Bamford? All of a sudden you're looking at it going, actually, how settled is this summer going to be? Because there's a lot of question marks over the squad and who's going to stay and who's going to go. And suddenly it becomes a massive churn again. And my worry is I don't know why a number 10 didn't get done last summer. I mean, I suppose we ran out of time really in the summer, didn't we? Really,
we wanted one, didn't we?
Yeah, it was
clear we wanted one.
Yeah, and maybe he did have ideas of Pirot being able to do that a bit of that, and Rutter being able to do a bit of that, and it would kind of work out. But let's have a look then. What else is going on here? Chris, he's mentioned about the teams coming down just in terms of the championship quality. Out of the 3 coming down, Burnley should be up there regardless of the gaffer. Sheffield United might flirt with playoffs. Luton will be mid-table. I think you think Luton are probably best place.
I think Luton are best place. They recruited for the championship when they were in the Premier League. I think Burnley are going to have a bit of churn. There were players that they've signed that won't want to play in the championship that I think will move on. All depends on the way that they go in terms of a coach. Are they going to stay with the same style of football? I don't think Sheffield United will be anywhere near, if I'm honest. I think it'll be Luton. Luton will finish the highest of the 3. Burnley will be in and around the playoffs, and Sheffield United will be nowhere near, is my gut feeling. But that is it. Sorry, you come to that and said, I think the point is that the 3 coming down are nothing like Leicester, Southampton, and Leeds. No. Nothing like that talent. Like, it's light years away. The points totals that the top 2 will finish on, in 2024-25 season won't be anywhere near what Ipswich and Leicester have finished on. Nowhere near.
No. Number 10 solution. Aronson could be key, Scott says here. Interesting one. I mean, I know he's written off by large parts of the fan base. I actually still think there is a player there. Whether he can become a key factor, whether he wants to play at the Championship. I mean, I suppose this loan release clause is still active and it can be triggered by another club. And I don't know the ins and outs of that one. Could an Aronson be a solution in a way for us?
It could be, but I think Aronson's better on the wing.
Everything that we've seen played his best football on right wing, hasn't he?
Yeah, plays his best football from the right. So I think a season in the Championship would be good for him. I genuinely do think a season in the Championship would be good for him. He needs a rebuild. But truthfully, I'm not interested in having any of them back, if I'm honest. I'm not interested in having any of them back.
No. Alan, we're stuck with all our loanees for another season. The Rats will all be looking for their next loan clubs and losing yet more value. Poor management, ref subs yet again yesterday. Now, an interesting one Skip raises here, and I kind of in the fog of tiredness last night, I checked Twitter and I did see this crop up. And Kieran Maguire stated that we need to pay 73 million by the 30th of June for transfers, and I think it's 190 million or something owed overall, and all that kind of thing. So there's a bit of pressure. I mean, it won't surprise me if sales happen pretty quickly or what. I don't know.
I don't think there's any stress around it, Brownie. I really don't. You're going to be looking. Let's just say on the low side, we sell Somerville for 30 million. I think it'll be closer to 40 total fee. Because I just think the way that the 49ers have conducted themselves, they've shown that they're not going to be shortchanged. So, but let's just say it's 30 million. That's half of that figure straight away there. Nonto, you're going to be looking at 20 million future potential. That's 50 done. And then you look at the loans, and we would be able to sell a few of them. Matt Rocker, Jack Harrison. Before you know it, you've got the 73 million. I'm not concerned about it. This also isn't a monetary problem. It's a rule problem for Leeds United. So the 49ers have got the money. This isn't like we're going to be like liquidated or going to administration like it was back in the day. The worst case scenario is we find ourselves with a points deduction. And you know what? I wouldn't be surprised if the 49ers said, like, balls to it. You know what I mean? I really would. They'd be like, right, well, we're going for it. We're gonna go for it. So no, don't think you're gonna shove us to the walls. We're not bothered. Like, if you're not paying 40 million for Somerville, it's not going. That's it. And we're going to rebuild and we're going to aim to go back for the Premier. Just like Leicester have. Leicester were, we're going to pay Harry Winks 90k a week because we think he's going to be that integral. Balls to the rules. We're going to get promoted. And if we don't, then we'll deal with the problem. Then it wouldn't surprise me. But that's why then the management decisions are so big. The decision of the way that we go then into this next season is so key because you are then going to be in a real sticky position in 12 months' time.
Yeah, no, true. Let's have a look at some other comments here then.
Just while you do that, I'm just going to run for a quick wee.
Yeah, no worries, mate. Interesting one here from Michael Greenwood to come back after Middlesbrough not taking up the option to sign him. Right, I didn't realise that, Michael. What happened with him at Middlesbrough then? Did it not kind of go to plan then? Because I know it started off okay, didn't it? But interesting to see if we get Greenwood back. Peter Farke said he needed the whole squad, but hardly used Anthony, who could have played as a number 10 too. Joffrey, Creswell, Connor Roberts. He managed to upset players, upset me. Yeah, it's a strange one with the squad because we've seen less and less of the squad used. Someone like Jadon Anthony, who, his first appearances, maybe I don't know, the first half of the season. Every time he came off the bench, he made an impact. But how many starts did the guy get? It just never seemed to really happen for him. And we've talked before about predictable substitutions, and it's a bit of a problem for me. He should have used the squad a little bit more creatively than he has done. Do you know much about this Greenwood situation? So Sam Greenwood, Michael says he's coming back after Middlesbrough have not taken up the option to sign him. Now that's completely gone by me. I didn't even realise that had happened. But do you know if that's right or not? You're on mute. You're on mute.
Sorry, I muted it so you couldn't hear toilet flush. Yeah, they had a 2.5 million optional fee to pay if they wanted to sign him permanently. I think his season's been on and off. I think it'd have been a good option for us, if I'm honest. I was disappointed when he left. I remember the cup game that he played in before he left. He played all right, and I was a little bit disappointed when he left. I don't think he's key though. He could come back into the squad and play a bit part, or he could move on. But the fact that Middlesbrough have not been prepared to pay 2.5 million for him says everything, really, doesn't it? So
yeah, Scott says here, Greenwood not that good. Maybe a squad player if he's happy. Might be someone who can take a set piece though. So there's always that.
Imagine
just start him, just someone to take a set piece, please. CB, I think Bamford will stay if he's not playing correctly, because Skip has asked, what would you do with Bamford? Can't see any club paying his wages, or do you pay off his contract?
I honestly think it's essential that we get rid of him this summer. I think for him, for the squad, for the club, for the fans, that we can't have another season where we're talking about Patrick Bamford. Like, we literally can't. We can't do it. Whatever it takes, I think we need to move him on. And I've been a Bamford kind of supporter all through his whole time at Leeds. We're better with him this season, even with him in the squad. But we need to move on, and we need a replacement, man. Please just sign an out-and-out 9. No projects, no messing around. Whoever that is, just go and make it happen. A Latela from Middlesbrough, or, Schmodix is more of a 10, but, whoever. I'm not paid to make that.
Is Joseph ready? Would you risk?
I wouldn't risk him being
go as a number 9 and you go for it, kind of thing?
I wouldn't risk him being out.
I'm annoyed with Farke with that, though. I would love to have had a test run with Joseph towards the end of the season, especially when we went out of form and Bamford got injured. It would have been the perfect opportunity to, right, you've got 10 games, Joseph. Show us what you can do. Can you get that number 9 shirt for next season? Now we don't know. Now we're just looking at a player who looked great again when he came on yesterday, but you kind of left going, can you pin your hopes of a number 9 onto that?
I think it'd be a real risk, Browney. If you were looking at any other team, would Leicester put all their faith in Tom Cannon, who they signed on loan from Everton? They wouldn't. 19-year-old striker, they wouldn't. Yeah. They had, Daka, Vardy, and whoever. I forget the name of the other striker, but yeah, they wouldn't. Whoever you're looking at throughout the divisions, Ipswich, they signed Ali Alade from Wimbledon, but they didn't put the full faith in him. They went and signed Kiefer Moore. You know what I mean? Like, proven quality in that division. I've got the list up here alongside me. There's loads of potential in the division. I don't particularly like him, but Ellis Sims, Haji Wright. There's others that you could go and definitely go and get, and we need to do that. But it not be Pirot, who was the answer we thought, but when you watch him week in, week out, you realise he's not that guy. He's not that guy. I feel really sorry for Joel Pirot. Really, really sorry for him, because he clearly was brought in as a second option to Cameron Archer, and he just didn't fit. He got no opportunity to show the best of what he's about. I've got the stats up here, because while we were chatting, I just thought I'd bring it up. Joel Pirot's had less shots this season than Jack Redone and Josh Karoma, who both play for Huddersfield, and neither of them are strikers. Jack Redone is a midfielder, right? He's had less shots on goal than Jay Stansfield, who were in a Birmingham team and got relegated. So some of these stats are just unbelievable. Jason Knight, who plays midfield for Bristol City, had more shots than Joel Pirot. He started 28 games this season, and he came off the bench in a bunch of others. It's unbelievable, really. Dan James had more shots than him.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, if you chop and change, if you get another manager in and who unlocks the Pirot factor, I mean, is that,
yeah.
Because the thing is to go and spend big on a striker again, I mean, what are you going to be talking about? How much are you going to have to spend again to do it? And then what do you do with Joe Pirot? I mean, how much do we spend on Joe Pirot? 10 million?
10 to 15 million.
It's not money that you can just piss away in the Championship, is it? Do you know what I mean? So, Jonesy, poor utilisation of the squad is Farke's biggest failure from this year. Joseph, Gallagher, Anthony, Cresswell, all good enough at this level to rotate.
Anthony must be absolutely fuming. He must be absolutely raging. I mean, the amount of substitute appearances that he's made, I think he's the most in the division at about 32 or something ridiculous. He must be fuming because, I mean, he's a top player. And he has had, Championship Player of the Year in front of him in his position. But again, make adjustments. When the 10 isn't working, put Somerville in the 10 and play Anthony out on the left. Whenever Anthony's played, I would say with the exception of the Stoke away game, he's always looked good. He's always looked to make an impact, and he's had no opportunities.
I find it bizarre. I think it's bizarre. I really do. And it's this inflexibility from Farke that, I mean, how many teams, Jason, in the Championship could have a Jadon Anthony just sitting there on the bench week in, week out? I mean, it's wild. It's absolutely wild. It's so frustrating. Jonesy, one possible solution. Shea Adams will probably be available. We've been linked with him. We have been.
He'll be in the Premier League
so many times.
He'll be in the Premier League. He'll get a free transfer move to the Premier League, 1,000,000%. I've heard Wolves, Crystal Palace in for him. I think all the promoted clubs would look at him. Ipswich would love him. If he's deciding that he's moving on from Southampton. I think Leicester would even probably love him, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
Because they're probably going to look to move on Daka, and Vardy's probably going to retire, so I'll move on. So,
Dave, is it a reasonable question to ask, is the pressure of the club too much to Farke? Now, I said this to Jason on the way home. I was amazed, really. I was surprised that Farke couldn't see it through when we caught Leicester and Ipswich up. Because don't forget, we were top of the table. We did get to the top of the table. And we did, at one point, have outright points advantage over Ipswich. I was amazed that Farke wasn't able to guide us through to the end from that point. I'm surprised how badly it dropped off, but the pressure of a Leeds United versus the pressure of a Norwich it's worlds apart. Did that play a factor?
I'm not sure. I think that can probably be more labelled at the players, and that's where maybe you look at this experience kind of thing again. Yesterday was a one-off game on it, in that you can then look at the manager and blame him tactically. I think them two games, the week that we played Sunderland and Blackburn, and bear in mind it can so quickly spin the other way. We were speaking about it on the way home yesterday. Didn't we talk yesterday, mate? we got through some chat until I fell asleep. The Sunderland game, the two penalties, one of them comes off, we win that game. The whole season could have been different. The Blackburn game, we should have been, we should be killing them off. We don't. They score. That week was absolutely crippling. Yeah. And in you play them 290 minutes over again, we probably win them both. Even playing as well as we did on the day, or not as well as we did on the day, however you want to kind of look at it. So yeah, it's really tricky, because when you actually isolate it to moments, there weren't much in it. And Farke, rightly said, you can only do so much. It's about what then happens on the pitch, and we can't. You got to be careful how you flip-flop on it, because the performance that we showed at Norwich showed that when the players click and they move the ball in the way that I would imagine going forward Daniel Farke intends them to, it looks great and we can dominate teams. But then, I go back the other way and I look at yesterday's performance. This is why I'm so back and forward with Farke. It's impossible to make a definitive kind of call on it, because I'm left with nothing but to believe that was instructional yesterday. Slow build up, keep the ball, keep possession. Yeah. Tough one to answer, mate.
Yeah.
I remember Evie mentioning it on a stream. I'm gonna kind of quote it out, because she got absolute hammer for it on that particular stream, and she was spot on. This season has come down to us losing against the teams at the bottom, or dropping points against the teams at the bottom. You're gonna drop points to a Southampton or a West Brom. them other teams that are challenging and around. We've done unbelievably well to take the amount of points that we have from the top 6. Bear in mind, we beat Norwich home and away, we beat Ipswich home and away, and we beat Leicester home and away. The drop of points against them bottom 8 and dealing with the low block was the biggest problem of all.
Yeah, absolutely frustrating. Glenn's got the solution to our striker issues. Is Harry Gray old enough to play first team yet? Few years.
I mean, he is, but it won't.
Few years left to cook for him, I think. Yeah, Skip. When Gray made the foul throw, knew it was. I mean, do you know what? I sat in my seat after that for a minute. I just couldn't even cope, Skip. I literally, I just couldn't cope. I just could not cope at all. Rachel, I feel for you, heartbreaking not to go up. So glad you bought Pirro and not us. Rachel, who are you supporting there? Let us know.
She's a Southampton fan, I would guess, because they were looking at the thing is, though, Rachel, he'd probably look great in your system. They'd probably make him work brilliantly because he is a good player. There is a player in him, and he's a killer finisher. You know, we're complaining that he's not getting on the ball as much. He was still the 16th top scorer in the division. I know that sounds like a long way down. He still scored 13 league goals last season. You know, like I mean, what does that put him as? Our 3rd top scorer, I think it is, behind Dan James and Somerville. Like he's had an all right season, all considering.
Yeah, absolutely. Like CB says here, Evie said with some grizzled shithouse championship, you know what's, and she was right.
Spot on. She's absolutely spot on, and we didn't have enough of that nastiness earlier on the season. I mean, and again, you can look at other moments. The Bamford penalty at Stoke, my word, man, that'd have been 3 points extra. Like it is frustrating because it was so close for us. There were so many.
Jason, you can't. I mean, this is what I mean. God, there's just honestly some of the like facts and figures and it just kills because you can't do more than what we've done this season in terms of we had a poor start and we had to chase down 2 unbelievable teams that were putting record-breaking seasons together. We chase them down, we catch them up, we get to the summit of the league. And then we just implode and it all goes wrong. I think, as Andy says, at 8 points from 24 or something like that. Okay, right. Go again in the playoffs. We kind of, forget all the history and Derby and all that. And we get to the final and then, we lose in the final. I mean, it's, God, honestly, I'm just gutted. It's just so hard to take. It's just so hard to take. It really is.
I know, mate.
Andy backs his point up as well. We need some more championship experience in the squad. Very young squad at the moment. We are in the right hands with the 49ers. They know how to run a club. This morning hurts, but the 49ers will get it right. Yeah, I've got absolute faith in the 49ers. And that's the thing that's different these days as well, is the fact that we've got that ownership there behind us and you just know they're putting the right people in place. They've already put a lot of the right people in place to get this going. They'll probably be thinking, "Oh God, have we bought a cursed club?" Because I mean, it's Leeds United. I mean, the only Premier League, the only team that got relegated from the Premier League not to go back up. And yeah, it does. It's just something in this club's DNA. It's just got to be an absolute struggle. It's got to be the hardest route possible. And it's got to take a long time.
Yeah, the experience thing does my head in, if I'm honest. Like, I definitely think that we needed more. And what irritates me about it is that the club identified it. We've seen that on deadline day when we went for Kenny McLean. But then there ain't just Kenny McLean. Like, go and sign somebody else. Like, I don't know. Go sign Johnny Howson from Middlesbrough. Go give them £1 million for Johnny Howson. I'm not saying Johnny. You get what I'm saying. Like, if that's what you needed in the squad, then go and make it happen. And I'm going to just backtrack a little bit here because I think the recruitment was very, very good in the summer overall. Yeah. It was very successful, but the squad was just missing gaps, wasn't it? And with a little bit more, we'd have got over the line. But yeah, you're right, mate. I don't know. It's just part of being a fan of this football club, innit? Like, you just have to kind of strap in, except the fact that for all the love and passion that we have for it, it comes with this pain. It's my 3rd, playoff final loss, and I mean, I'm much more seasoned and mature than I was at the last one when I was bawling my eyes out. But it hurts nonetheless. And you just strap in again, and next season I'll come round and you'll be passionate about it all going again, won't you? So
yeah. Well, this is the other thing as well. I mean, it's that passion from the fans yesterday, and I mean, it's just unreal. You know, the support and the fever for it. You know, we're a nutty fan base. You know what I mean? We don't do it by half measures. I mean, it was funny because, you know, when we were getting the tube back and there was a Saints fan, probably about 10 or 15 feet away, just chatting casually with a couple of the Saints fans, and it was like so relaxed and kind of, we're back in the Premier League. We had this 1 year in the Championship where we messed about a bit, but you know, we're back up there, and I just thought, wow, it's just all clicks into place, doesn't it? It's so smooth sailing. Whereas for Leeds, it's no, just absolutely not.
I just reading Jones's question there. I'll just put it up. For me on this, I said this when we got promoted before. It's easier to finish 17th in the Premier League than it is to finish in the top 2 of the Championship. So I would rather do this building in the Premier League than in the Championship. The players that you can attract in the Premier League are just a different world. You know, think about the season that we got promoted and we managed to bring Rafinha to the club. I said this to you yesterday, didn't I, Brownie? Like, Orta and Radrizzani were able to bring Rafinha and Diego Llorente, Robin Koch, and among others to the club. And you think about of Robin Koch and Diego Llorente, they were both international footballers. And Diego Llorente especially, I thought had a very good first season at Leeds. You know, them Muppets were able to attract players like that. What would Nick Hammond and the 49ers be able to do?
That's why it's so frustrating. I would have loved it. Can you imagine the transfer room was going around this morning if we'd have just got promoted? It would have been glorious. It would have been unbelievable. Yeah. And now we're talking about Shea Adams, or I don't know, you know, getting grizzled Championship players in. It's just not where I want to be. I'm sick of it. I just don't want to be there. God.
So no is my it's a copium question.
yeah, absolutely. No, fair play, Rachel. I get that. Believe me, as a Saints fan, it wasn't plain sailing. It was painful at times. We had a very similar start. In fact, our seasons have been very similar. I mean, the irony is, I mean, Martin was close to the sack, you know, before that first Leeds Saints game, and you know, look how it's turned out. You know, look how it's turned out. It's remarkable, isn't it? When we do it. God, we've had a problem signing strikers. Rodrigo was Spain's number 9 when we signed him. Yeah, but he wasn't the right type of signing. Why do we do this? Just, oh my God, honestly, just crazy. Absolutely crazy. Jonesy, we appreciate it. Always better to go up. I'm just trying to find the positives.
Oh, I get it, mate. I get it. And I'm doing it to myself already. You know, I'm thinking, it'll be... I said to Browney coming out of the ground yesterday, well, at least we'll win more games next season. Like, I get it. I totally and utterly get it. And you're right to do that, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what the result is or what division we're in. We're still going to be here supporting the club. Yeah, because you support Leeds. It doesn't matter who we play. Like I say, my biggest thing for yesterday was for the fans and for everybody and for myself to be able to enjoy the occasion of winning a final and winning at Wembley. So I'm not like heartbroken that we're not going to be playing Manchester United and Chelsea and Liverpool next year. I'm really, really not. I'd prefer to be, but that's a bit of a side note for me. Yeah, like you say, the attracting different players and being able to build back in, because I truly believe the 49ers version of Leeds United can be a mainstay top 10 team. I truly, truly believe that. But we're gonna have to wait another year to see if we can do that or not.
I've been looking through social media as well, and the amount of Ipswich, Leicester fans and fans of all sorts of teams. Derby are back in the Championship now, and we really, I mean, it's.
I blocked Locks yesterday.
Good kicking. They're giving us a good kicking today.
I blocked Locks yesterday. If he's happened to be watching, I blocked you yesterday because you did my head in. Like he were giving it, and he were like, "Oh well, you know, it's all football banter, and I'm just gonna give it." Like, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, "Oh, block, I'll deal with you later." Like, I don't need to see it. I'm not bothered. Social media can get it bin for a few weeks until season starts ramping up again. You know what? Yeah. Sometimes we bring it on ourselves. Sometimes we ask for it. You know, we are quick to give it. That's football banter and culture and whatnot. at the end of the day, I'm not bothered. Other teams can think and say what they want. Like at the end of the day, we know what it means to us. And it sounds a bit derogatory that I'm gonna say this, but your comment about the Southampton fan on the train yesterday, we saw Southampton fans walking out before the trophy had even been paraded yesterday, and I were like, what on earth are you doing? Get back in that ground. Like, I could not believe it. But it just doesn't mean as much to some fan bases. It's as simple as that. Like, it's actually not derogatory. It's not negative. We are obsessed.
We are.
Like, it's a problem. From it is. It's a problem. It's almost like an addiction. So I don't actually. It's not a criticism of these other fan bases. It's just reality. So yeah, like, it means what it means to us, and it'll always mean what it means to us. So
yeah. Michael, no Yorkshire teams in the Premier League now, and it is a region, it's a county that is it does struggle. It's struggling, isn't it? I mean, on our West Yorkshire football show, from the main teams that we've got representation from the correspondents, you've had Bradford City have had a pretty glum season. You've got Downsy with Huddersfield that got relegated. If you go lower than that, obviously Halifax had their own playoff disappointment. Avenue relegated again. Guiseley sacking managers. I mean, it's not great across this region at all. And then if you extend it to the rest of Yorkshire, you look at Sheffield United. I mean, Christ almighty, what a horrible, horrible season for them. So yeah, it's one of them, innit? It's just, we go on, don't we?
It's tough, mate. It's tough, and it will. I've been dreading.
I am giving myself a few days to just get it out of my system.
Yeah, same.
A bit of a pity party, a bit of a wallow, a bit of a kind of feel sorry for myself, and then you're absolutely right. Few transfer rumours will happen, and we'll start getting the buzz. We've got the Euros to look forward to, so
England
won't give us any problems.
Oh yeah, God, yeah. I mean, it's funny because England is completely secondary to me. It always has been. The disappointment of losing in the final with England, I were over it by the next day, and that's no disrespect. Like is what it. International football and England, I am patriotic, but it's nothing like Leeds. I mean, Alison says their Leeds is a religion. That is exactly what it's like. It's like a cult. Like, it is literally like a cult.
It's like a dangerous cult.
Yeah. I don't want Rachel to think that I'm being like disrespectful. I understand that you love your club too. The obsession that we feel, it is literally inherently. I think about Leeds when I wake up. I think about Leeds when I go to bed. Like, and that is what I would say the majority of the hardcore fan base is like. Like, most of the people that are involved in Leeds are like that. There's not too much casual kind of fan base within our ranks. It's everybody is like that. It means too much. It really. I wish it meant less. I wish I could just go about my day, like, and just be like, no, I don't care about. Like, it's fine, it's done. Right, we'll play football next season. It's just like, it doesn't work like that. So I'm not being disrespectful. It's just, like I say, it means too much.
This is how I feel. Once again, the gods of football shit in our breakfast egg. I mean, this is the thing as well. It's like the football gods. I mean, it's just like they're just handing out endless punishments to Leeds. Like, they give us a little taste, and then they're just like, right, I'm going to absolutely whack you now. What have we done? What have we done? Jesus, man. Jim, I'm in an abusive relationship with Leeds United. I just can't leave.
I get it.
I mean, it's shocking. It's punishing, but it is. We're done. It's a life sentence. We ain't got no choice. We ain't got no choice. It is what it is. Got no choice.
And you know what? You wouldn't have it any other way, Brownie. You wouldn't. Like, exactly. Ultimately, all the downs make the ups so much sweeter. I just hope at some point we get a bit of a sustained run of nice things.
Yeah, well, I mean, we had, obviously we had the Bielsa years. We had 3 years where it was kind of an upward trajectory, which was fantastic, obviously, and I think that's set fire to a lot of stuff as well. I think it's set alight a kind of passion and a fervor for it as well, where we feel like we're so close to kind of getting back to whatever we think we should have, but it's just tantalizingly close again, but out of reach again. So yeah, it's Yeah, there we go.
I've just before you finish, I've just seen somebody put on social media, last time we lost the Championship playoff final, we got relegated the season after, and it's Leeds United. Oh no. Imagine.
I think, well, there was one I was going to bring up here, but I think it's not exactly true, is it? But first team in Championship history to get
that's not true.
That's not true. First team to lose 4 playoff finals.
That's true.
Won 41 points from an available 45 at the start of 2024 and didn't go up. Top of the league during the March international break and didn't go up. This is very Leeds. We know this. This is we break every record for the wrong reason, and we do it. In fact, we find new records every year to do that. For goals conceded, and I mean, it's. Yeah. Well, anyways, thank you for joining this therapy session this morning. I hope you all enjoy the rest of your bank holiday in some way, shape, or form.
Thank you so much for your comments. Lots of good comments.
We've loved it. Yeah, we've absolutely loved it. If you're not subscribed to the channel as well, please do subscribe. Myself and Jason, we're here, and we always give our match reviews and previews, and you know, we try and get the Leeds content out there. We know there's a lot on YouTube and across social media, but you know, it is one big Leeds family, isn't it, at the end of the day? And there's a lot of great stuff out there. So yeah, we appreciate you getting involved. So if you've not already liked the video and subscribed, please do that as well. Myself and Jason, we will be back in some shape or form. There's a season review to do. There's the round table with the lads to do. We're going to have some Euros content as well on the channel as well. So do check that out as well. We're going to try and get some posting on match reviews done and general chit chat about that, where hopefully it'll be a little less kind of feeling like, you know, you've got a big axe above your head talking about it. Hopefully it's going to feel a little bit easier, but we'll wait and see. But yeah, I hope everyone has a fantastic rest of the bank holiday, and we will see you again next time. I've been Stephen Brown. Jason, thank you very much, mate.
On and on, mate.
On and on. Exactly. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.